Well, I think the market is taking the news that there will be more tariffs imposed by the U.S. on trade with China as a very negative outlook for oil demand and really for commodity demand more generally going forward. Certainly the kind of deterioration in global trade volumes that we've seen this year does mathematically lead into lower demand for crude oil simply on a basis for you need fewer ships to be moving those goods around, fewer aircraft to be moving those goods around. So if that carries on to the end of 2019 and perhaps even to 2020 as we enter the firm end of the U.S. election cycle when Trump is likely to want to maintain that hard stance on China, then it could be a very difficult barrier for crude to try and break through some of those demand concerns.
Why do you think the market is so sensitive to trade versus geopolitical headlines right now? Because it seems like the movement out of the United States and China and concerns about demand really is taking center stage, as opposed to other headlines around the region, for example, in the seizure of this Iranian tanker.
Well, I think what the market is doing is it's looking at the headline and the news surrounding the tariffs and taking that as a much more concrete example of what is actually affecting this market right now. Whereas the escalation in geopolitical tension is certainly an escalation, but it's also quite uncertain how impactful it's going to be in terms of crude flowing out of the Strait of Hormuz. So since we've seen deterioration in relations between Iran and the United States since about May this year when the U.S. ended the waivers for the exports of Iranian crude, and we've seen several attacks on tankers in the Gulf and in the Strait of Hormuz, oil prices actually have not really rallied that much. And to me, that's telling us that the market is much more fixated on the concrete issues surrounding demand and also availability of supply that is not reliant on the Strait of Hormuz. So the United States continues to increase production. We don't really have any supply issues, so to speak, at any other major producer outside of the bloc, or outside of the Strait.
Hey everybody, it's Hadley Gamble from our new CNBC Middle East Bureau in Abu Dhabi. Thanks for stopping by. Now to watch more, you can try one of the videos that just popped up on your screen. And don't forget to subscribe.